Part Dukes. Let's go. So we have a car. Our input is working. Of course, we're not moving right now. We don't have any movement set up. But I was thinking before we do that, let's set up the camera. So we have a nice camera view of what's going on here. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna make some sort of camera actor that will sort of represent, or I mean, yeah, it will be the camera essentially. So it will control, like, if we want to have panning of the camera and so on, it will be in control of that, and you know, everything like that, all the good junk. So let's do that. So I am going to go into our program folder, or project folder, sorry. I'm going to make a new folder. It's called camera. And here I'm just going to make race camera. So make a race camera header and CPP. All right. Then I go in and regenerate the project files. There we go. So now we have a player and a camera folder, and in the camera we have this. Perfect. So now go into Visual Studio, is reload all. We have to stop debugging, unfortunately, so we're gonna do that. There we go. But now in our Solution Explorer, we should have camera here. Yeah, perfect. So I'll open up the header and C++ file for the race camera. Remember to add pragma once to your header. I'm also going to include race camera generated H. So we're just going to inherit from, race camera only. We're just going to inherit from a actor. This is going to be what we need. Go all the standard stuff. There we go, and of course we have to include actor, so I'm going to include game framework / actor.h. And that should be good. Should be just dandy. So then the components we want is that I actually want, so I'm just going to add a U property. Visible anywhere. We're gonna make a scene component to be the root. Let's call it root. And then we're gonna add a U camera component to be our camera. So this is what your header should look like. It's a little chilly, actually. I'm gonna sweater. It's snowing outside, isn't that magical?
We got over 10 centimeters of snow here in Boden last weekend.
Sick.
And it's -8 degrees.
That's awesome. Alright, so of course, yeah, like you guys were noticing, we have to forward declare our camera components. Could include it as well, but why not? You just get the habit of forward declaring in the header. Did this need a U class? Yes, very good observation, Amelia. Plus points. We of course need to declare this as a U class. What did generated body actually do? So, generated body will insert a bunch of code into our class just to make it sort of gel with Unreal system. So it added some functions and shit that Unreal needs to make this work with garbage collection and all of that junk. Well, unfortunately, right-clicking it won't really help us there, I don't think. Yeah, but doesn't uClass do that? No, uClass doesn't do anything. uClass will just mark it for the code generator. This generated body is so that we can actually insert some code. I don't know why none of the images are working in Teams. Like, I can't look at any of them. It's kind of dumb. Well, we can take a look at one of those generated files at one point. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, whoops. It's like here, builds, Win64. No. I don't even remember where they are. Oh, here they are. Yeah, here. So it will generate like this. So this is like what the generated code looks like in Unreal. It looks very, very horrible, very messy. But yeah, here you can see like it's like kind of including some some metadata shit and stuff. Gross. All right. So now we have that. So let's define the constructor so we can start making the components. It's going to include the header there. So we're going to make the root. So root is going to equal create default subobject. We're going to make a uScene component. There we go. Root. We're going to set that as the root component for the actor. Then we're going to create the camera. So that's going to be the actual thing that we look through. And we're going to, of course, set up the attachment there. Whoops. There we go. And then I'm going to include the camera component. So let's see where that is. So I'm going to go to the declaration here. Okay, well, that doesn't work. Go to definition. Okay. Camera components. It is in, so we have engine, classes, camera components. So we're looking for classes. That's one of the, the magic keyword there. So classes, and then we have camera/camera components. So the include path will be camera/camera components. Whoops. All right. I think this looks pretty sweet. So let's run it then. Not to flex, but rather include the camera component automatically. What, in the header? Yeah, well. You lazy. How about that? Okay. So, let's see. Let's open up our test map. Let's actually set this as our default start map when we open up the engine. I'm gonna head into settings, project settings. Maps and modes. So in project settings, I go to maps and modes. And this editor startup map, I'm gonna set that to be our test map. Okay. So now, whenever we open up the editor, we're gonna go to the test map, so that's good. Okay. Yes, let's look at the code a little bit.
What was the test map again?
That was just a map I saved. It's the one where I put the car in. I saved that. So put that in levels, word level, and then use test map. But it's whatever you named your map to.
Yeah, but what is it? Like, is it like a setup or
The setup.
like what is the test map?
Oh, it's just a map that has the car in it. It was just the default map that I got when I started the engine, really, and I put a car in it. And that was pretty much it. You can make a new one if you want to use like new level and use default here if you want. You just put a car in it and save it. How come I can't see everyone? I want to see all the cameras. How do you make that happen in... Okay, I'll open up the code again. Code, please? You can't?
Only if you're not screen sharing, then you can see everyone.
Ah! Annoying.
Don't press large gallery.
Can I like...
Press together mode.
Can I like say like I don't want to see...
Just-
Like I don't want to see David. Can I do that? No, I can't.
I think you can actually like pin for me if you left click on the camera. There's like 3 dots.
No, there's nothing.
No, like on someone else's camera, and there's like 3 dots when you hover above there. No?
No, it's just pin and fit the frame.
Yeah, pin for me. So that would pin that person for you.
Yeah, I don't want to pin them.
So you can choose who you wanna see,
Yeah, but I want
but
to
you can't choose who you don't wanna see.
take them away. Oh, excuse me. Oh shit. All right. So we have a camera. Let's see if that exists in the game. So I'm just gonna open up the editor, and then in place actors, I'm just gonna search for race camera. Okay, so it does exist, and if I drag it out in the level, yeah, we can see that we have a root and we have a camera component. So that was set up correctly. So that's good. What I'm gonna do though, I'm actually gonna make a blueprint version of it anyway. So I'm just gonna make a new folder called the camera. Then I'll just override that. So go to all classes and then race camera. I'll call it BP. Do I want to call it camera? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'll call it BP camera.
We made it derived from our race camera, right?
Yes. So the parent class should be the race camera that we just made in C++. So here I'm gonna set up the default, the default setup for how the camera should look and how the camera should work. And this is quite common. You don't want to tweak values like, you know, the offset of the camera or whatever in C++. Or I mean, at least I don't. I mean, I know other people do. They love going in here and like manually putting in the offset of the all the components and shit. But I'm just gonna do it in Blueprint because it's much easier, and then designers can come in and change it if they want to, and so on. So I'm just gonna take this camera component. I'm gonna rotate it 90 degrees because I kind of want to have it in the game so that the x-axis actually points to the right. I don't know why. I just want to do that. Feel free to choose your own coordinate system. But I'll do that. I love that Visual Studio doesn't mention that this is wrong. What is wrong? I don't see the wrong. Okay. So I want X to point right. No. So I'm just gonna rotate the camera down. So it's gonna be a top-down game, and then just move the camera back a little bit. I don't know how far. I'll just pick something. Something like that, maybe. Pitch it up a little bit. Maybe like that. And then I'll just place this BP version into the game. So we have something like this. I love that the screen is completely glitching out whenever I'm moving the camera. That's great. Seems like we kind of want a little bit more distance on our camera here. So I'm just going to move it back a little bit more. Move back. There we go. So now we have a little bit more of a wide shot here. The important part is that I actually want the root of the camera actor to be where the camera is looking. So if I'm moving the camera actor to a player, I want that player to be sort of focused by our camera, not that, you know, our camera component ends up being inside of the player and I have to keep like taking that into consideration. When I move the camera actor, then the camera will focus on whatever I'm moving it to.
I want to ask, what was the root components type again?
It's just a scene component.
Thanks.
Bro. No problema, no problema. And actually, it's kind of low, so I'm just gonna rotate down the camera a little bit. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's... Okay, I hate that. Let's rotate it back. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's probably fine. Okay. But of course, it doesn't matter. What is rude that came like pinning and unpinning messages in chat? This is not the first time you've done this.
Shut up.
It's not the first
I
time you've done
miss
this.
like my hands are shaky.
Okay, so yeah, of course, just because we have a camera in the scene doesn't mean that the camera will be activated. Still, we see that whenever I play the game, as soon as we possess the player, the camera just gets set to... used to follow that player actor. So what we want to do is that the camera, we want that to take control, right, of the viewport. We want to say like, okay, the viewport, instead of using the default actor camera or whatever, like when there is no camera on a pawn, it will just center the camera on the pawn, pointing in the direction the pawn is pointing. That will be like the default setup there. Instead of doing that, I want to change the camera to be this lovely new race camera that we made. So what I'm gonna do is that, well, on the race camera, I'll do a begin play. Just override that. Then I'll just implement that in the CPP file. Okay, and let's see if we can do this. So I'm going to... What is the function called? Got it. It's been a hot minute since I did this. I'm just gonna look it up in Blueprints just to get the name. It's like set view. It's like override camera. Fuck, I don't remember what the function is called. Damn it, guys. I'm sorry, I forgot. Let's just Google it. Set player camera Unreal. Using a static camera. Let's just check it out. Yeah, they're building a level. That's nice. Very nice. Could I get the function, please? Set view target with blend. That was the function, right? Set view target. What? Oh. Yeah, so there's this context sensitive switch here.
It's very annoying.
Yeah, the context sensitive thing. What that does, it's checking kind of what you're dragging out from right now. So for example, when I'm dragging out of an exec pin, I'm not gonna be able to get like a variable. So I won't be able to like get lifetime or something. Because it's saying like, hey, you're dragging out of an exec pin and get lifetime. Okay, initial lifespan, whatever. Initial lifespan doesn't have an exec pin, so you probably don't want that. And that's what the context sensitive stuff does. That it sort of filter out of stuff that doesn't really make sense based on what you're doing. And in this case, I'm guessing it's filtering out set view target for some reason. But let's just switch that off. So now it'll actually give us all available nodes that we can call, no matter like, you know, kind of what we're doing. So here it is.
Is
that
it maybe
on by
because...
default?
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. Yes, is it on by default?
It's on by default, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so the reason it wasn't working is because the target is player controller, right? So we have to call this on a player controller. So that's why it wasn't showing up, because obviously we're not a player controller. So that was why it wasn't showing up. So we have to provide a player controller, and that is gonna be like, you know, which player gets this new camera as the view target, and then provide like which view target to use and the blend time and blah 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 blah, etc. But now we have to find the set view target with blend. That's the one we need. So what I'm gonna do is that on begin play, I'm just gonna do get. Let's see if I can figure this out. Get player controller. Yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna call this get first player controller on the world. And that will just give us the first player controller. Very convenient function, I gotta say. Very convenient. We have a template.
Sorry, is this similar to player index 0?
Yeah, I would assume so, yeah.
Player.
I would assume so, yes. If we actually go to definition, we can probably see... Oh, I actually use gets the iterator. So I'm guessing if there is no player controller at index 0 for some reason, then I guess it will get the first one that actually has a player in it. I'm assuming, but No idea. Does it show that I haven't used this system a lot? Yeah, I hope it doesn't show too much. Alright, so we're just gonna get the first play controller here. And we're gonna save that as a variable. What does that return? I guess a play controller. So we'll do that. So now I have the controller. Now we have control. I will say, by the way, world is quite a overarching concept, what the world is. But you can see it like the level, essentially. Like a little bit bigger than level. It owns the levels. It also owns kind of the current game state right now. So you can see it kind of like a game state. So, you know, it has the levels, it has the player controllers, it has the pawns, blah, blah, blah. It's like it controls a lot of things. So that's why usually when you're trying to find a function, usually it's on the world. You're my world, Emil. Thanks you, Thomas. Thank you. You're very nice. I think I needed to hear that today. So then on the controller, we're going to do set view target. We also have set view target with blend and just regular set view target. And I'm just going to call set view target because we don't want blending. Alright, so we have an actor. So that's going to be the new view target. The reason it's an actor is that you can actually set the view target to be anything. As long as it's a transform, it will kind of accept that as a view target. I believe it will try to find if there is a camera component on the actor. And if there is, then it will, you know, kind of use that. But if there is no camera component, then, you know, it will just accept any actor and just kind of take on that actor's transform. Then we have some transition params that we're not going to care about because it's defaulted. So for the new view target, I'm just going to select this. So we're going to set this to be the new view target. And of course, this is the race camera, since we're doing this in the race camera right now. The view target is the race target. Race camera, yes. So let's see if it works. What could fucking possibly go wrong? Can you show us how to set up the camera in the editor again? Yes, I can show that again. I mean, I didn't do much. I just moved the camera around. But, yeah, I can show it. Okay.
We haven't attached it or anything yet, right?
No, there's no attaching. It's just in the world. Kind of around. Alright, so let's play and see what happens. Wow! Wow! Amazing! It works! I actually didn't think that would work. So that's great. I'm very happily surprised right now. This is how I set up the camera, by the way. I just... Oh yeah, F, by the way, will focus whatever we have selected. So if I hit F now, it will just go to the camera. I had to click the viewport first, that's why it didn't work. But yeah, I just moved the camera back a little bit so we can see. So we can see better. I might actually add a billboard here. You know, I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna click on root and just add a billboard. There we go. Yes, we have a little bit, so we can see where the root is. the sprite. This sprite sucks. Let's make a tree. Yeah, lovely.
What exactly is a billboard?
It's just a sprite in the editor. It won't show up in the game. Unless you uncheck hidden in game, of course. But it's just an editor, little editor widget. Is it upside down? No. Yeah, it's always facing the camera, yeah. So it doesn't matter how I look at it, it will always face the camera. It's a little sprite. Like trees in Mario 64. And trees in It Takes Two. Alright, so now we have a camera that we can actually see, what's going on. So this is a great way to have the camera just not be the player. So you can have a camera that's completely separated from the the player's actor, so you can be a completely different actor. Isn't it a little cheaty doing this in C++ instead of in the game mode, or are they one and the same? I don't think there's a difference. I don't know if there is a proper way of doing it. Or do we say screw the game mode? Well, I do say screw the game mode. Yeah, I don't really like the game mode. I don't think it's a really good actor. What is set view target doing exactly? Well, it just kind of sets in the player controller. There's functions to get kind of the camera settings, like what the current viewport settings is, like the camera matrices and stuff like field of view and stuff like that in the player controller. So the screen, when it's rendering, it's just pulling all of the player controllers to see like, hey, where's your camera? Hey, what is your camera matrix? What is your camera matrix? And the player controller will sort of return it. And in the case of set view targets, you're kind of overriding sort of what it's gonna return from its matrices. So instead of returning sort of the currently possessed pawn and returning those settings, it will just return some sort of overridden settings. It's all very confusing, and I don't like it very much. I wish the camera was a little bit more separated from the player controller, but it is what it is. Yeah, you need I can show the code again. Yeah, the player controller is quite a bloated class, unfortunately. It's huge. There's so much stuff in here that I just don't really think should be in here. That's why I tend to avoid most of the most of the Unreal ecosystem when I can. Player controller is one that's just kind of really hard to avoid because it controls stuff like camera and input and stuff. But stuff like HUD I avoid. Camera manager, no idea what that does. I've never used it. Like there's so much in there that you don't really need. Like it's kind of like, oh, it probably has a nice. It's like sheet manager. It's like what? There's so much shit in here now. And it's quite insane. But yeah, I mean in It Takes Two and in Haste Life, we we completely bypassed a player controller camera system. Like we just rewrote how all of those matrices in the camera data is fetched, so we could make our own system. And then we can add a bunch of neat features like advanced blending and all of that stuff. Just so we didn't have to deal with player controllers. It's quite nice. And that's what I like about Unreal. It's that if you want to bypass the system, you just do it. There's like most of it, you don't really even have to hack much. You can just kind of add stuff on top of it that just kind of bypasses most of its things if you want to. Like, it's quite nice. That's why I think like many AAA studios actually like using Unreal Engine, because it's quite easy just to make it do whatever you need it to do for your game to make it work. It's very nice. But it is a headache to get going in the beginning. Quite a steep learning curve.
Yeah, I have some interesting errors, even though my code looks exactly like yours. So I don't know if you can
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
help me.
Okay, let's see.
Let's see, which one is it? This one or the other one? Let's try that one. It's complaining about begin
You haven't
play.
declared begin play in your header.
Where do I have to declare it?
In the header.
Here.
In the class, you have to make void begin play override.
Oh, of course. Of
Yeah,
course.
I can show
Whoops.
my screen and you can copy it. This
see.
line here.
Ah, of course.
Yeah, you owe me $1, by the way.
Yeah.
Exactly like my code, he said.
Yeah.
No, it's all good.
Okay. Almost exactly.
Yeah, it's all good. Just messing. Okay, so now we have our camera and it seems to work. So let's get to making some movement then for our car. Let's make some car movements. But before that, I need a break because I want to make some coffee and I am just gonna die for a second. So let's take 10 minutes. So let's get back 55. Where's this YouTube video? I don't get it. I don't understand.
It's a Silicon Valley joke.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen an anime. Okay, BRB. Hey, so were you gonna mug someone or what's going on?
She's about to mug you.
She's like casing this joint. Oh, she's not listening. Hello? Tuva, I'm talking to you and you wasn't answering. What's up?
What?
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 Nothing.
What did you say, David? Yes, I am. Thank you.
All right. Hey guys.
Could I have a problem. Or no, I just didn't follow along with setting up the camera in Unreal.
In the blueprint?
Yeah, exactly. How do I make a camera blueprint and
Just override from our race camera.
what? Override from race camera?
Yeah, just make a new blueprint that overrides from our race camera.
Derives from.
Derives from.
Oh.
Sorry, yes.
Okay.
And then I just move the camera back a little bit.
Is it an actor?
Yes. But you don't make an actor. You right-click blueprint class, and then in all classes you search for race camera.
Oh. Okay.
Man, it sounds like that poor computer is about to give up.
Yeah, it's on its last leg now.
It's brand new. I mean, it's a laptop, so.
Oh, it's a laptop. Okay, explains
Yeah.
it. Poor laptop running on Unreal. Damn, Ruta looking fucking cozy as fuck right now. Is that like a cape? Is that like a Harry Potter cape?
That's a full fucking poncho.
I don't know what a poncho is, but it looks like a
It's
cape.
a poncho.
Snitches get stitches. What? Oh, you mean like a snitch on Tove? No, she's good. She's my main supplier, so I can't really. I would be hurting my own supply chain, so. Okay, so we have a camera. Let's make the car move. Doesn't that sound fun? Doesn't that sound just the fucking dope?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Yeah, Pablo Escobar was like a little bitch compared to Tuva. Going to jail, Lemao. Okay, anyway, so I'm gonna make a component for the car movement. No real reason, actually. It could be in the pawn. Like, there's no reason why it couldn't be in the pawn. But we haven't made a component. So I was thinking, like, hey, let's put it in a component. Like, it's not a bad way to structure things, to put the actual movement of the car in its own component. Then I guess theoretically we could put the car movement on a box if we wanted to, but I mean, my box collider had this wonderful sea fighting flicker going on when it's at the ground level. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. It's just gonna be sea fighting. Yeah, mine does the same thing. Doesn't matter. It's not gonna be visible in game anyway. Yeah, so let's make a component for this bad boy. So I kind of regret naming the folder player now, but we're too late. So in player, I'm just gonna add a new file, and I'm gonna name that race car movement component. It's gonna make a header, and I'm gonna make SCPP. There we go. I'm just gonna, because my view options keep not getting saved, so I'm just gonna put it in columns and just close it normally to make sure my engine settings are getting saved. Okay, so I made 2 new files in the player folder in our source. So we have race car movement component and race car movement component.h. We have those 2. And then I'm just gonna remake project files. Just standard, the standard Ricky Maru here. Nothing too dramatic. Hopefully, we avoid drama. So let's reload. I almost hit ignore. That would have been a disaster. Right. So now we have our movement components here. Cool. So let's write that. Pragma ones. Class. So it's gonna be a U this time. So we're not making an actor. We're making an actor component. Oh yeah, I haven't. Have I talked about the difference between actor component and scene components? I don't think I have talked about that. I think I've sort of mentioned it like quickly, but let's talk about it a little bit before we actually go ahead and make one. Just gonna go into the random blueprint. All right. So a scene component is kind of what we've been working on right now. A scene component is the base class for anything that has a transform. So the cylinders and the box, and you know, use the stand. If I used add a scene here, like I used the scene, there we go. Like all of these components are inheriting from scene components. I mean, the scene component here is a scene component, but the other ones are inheriting from it. And that's any component you can add to an actor that has a transform. So that's the scene component. You can see it as the, yeah, like we talked about, like the game object in like an empty game object in Unity. It's just like something that has a transform. That's it. So if you want your component that you're making to be able to be attached to your actor and have a position and scale and so on, then you want to make a scene component. So that's what a scene component is. Additionally, you have stuff called actor components. And that's one level down. So scene component inherits from actor component. An actor component is just a pure component. It's like a Unity mono behavior, really. So one example would be projectile movement, sure. Here, projectile movement. So you can see when I click on projectile movement, there's no transform options. I can't drag this and attach it to anything. So this is just a pure code component. It doesn't have any transform, or you can attach it to anything and so on. It's just a component, so it will only provide functionality and nothing else. So that's an actor component. And you can see those as the Unity components, right? When you add a component to a game object in Unity, there's it just gets added. It doesn't have its own position or anything. Like the transform is the only thing that actually has a position. So that's what an actor component is. You just add functionality, nothing else. So yes, you can see as the actor components like mono behaviors in Unity, and you can see scene components like the game object in Unity, the thing that actually has transform and so on. I would say that scene components are very rare to make your own. Very rare to make your own scene component. I think I've done it like maybe a couple of times at most. Like it's very rare for you to have to add functionality to a component that needs to be attached to something. An example would be the physics components in Hazelight. So the physics component that adds like a rotational effect where you can rotate something and it kind of acts like it's physical. That was a scene component that you could add. It was like a physics rotate component, for example. So you would add that to your actor and then attach stuff to that rotated component. and then stuff would rotate. But yeah, otherwise very rare. Most commonly, I would say 95% of the time when you're making a component, you're making an actor component. You just want to have some component that either has like data on it, like it was very common in Hazelight to just make components that only had just a bunch of variables in it. Just so you could share data in between systems and so on. For example, when we were talking to the animation system, we would have a component where we put like a bunch of animation data, and then the animation guys would read from that component. Or if you want to add stuff like functionality like movement and so on, you would probably make a movement component. So, very common to make actor components, not so common to make scene components on your own. Great. So we're going to make an actor component for a car movement. We're not going to make a scene component, just an actor component. It's really no difference, like making wise. Like if you want to make a scene component, all you do is just inherit from scene component, and you're pretty much good. Like this is pretty much all you do. Same thing if you want to make an actor component, all you do is just inherit from actor component, and then you're good. So we will see that these are they are quite similar to setup. So once we've set up an actor component, we should be able to set up a scene component quite easily. So let's make one then. So I'll do a class U race car movement component, and we're gonna inherit from actor components. Otherwise, everything looks very similar to an actor. We have a generated body. Same thing here. We're gonna have a U class. We're gonna include race car movement component dot generated dot h. So otherwise it looks, exactly the same like making an actor. Just always remember to do the U class, and remember to do generated body, and remember to include the generated header. And then we should be good. Of course, we have to include the actor component, right? Because we're going to be inheriting from that. So let's try to find where the actor component lives. So let's say U actor component. And that lives in components. So it's engine classes, components, actor components. Okay. Components, actor components.
Right automatically includes core minimal.h on everything.
Okay.
Is actor and stuff part of that?
I am not quite sure actually. Not quite sure. I think it's just stuff like, yeah, you get a bunch of, it's including a bunch of shit actually. It's doing a lot of data stuff like int vector, vector 2D, vector, Unreal Math.
Import everything just in case.
Yeah.
They seem to think.
Yeah, I have no idea. No idea. It includes core types, which is probably also a lot of shit in there, so I don't know. I usually lose code until I don't have anything, and then I include that. But it's nothing wrong with including core minimal, of course. All right. So now we have our actor components. Let's try to add it then. So I'm just going to restart. Go out then. Let's add our fucking race car movement, you fucking shithead. That's my British impression there. Do you have any British people in chat? Anyone here Brit? No? Oh, okay. Then I was just being racist, so that's great. So let's see then. So let's go into our player. BP car.
No British people here, Emil.
What, sorry? What do you say?
I'm gonna have to report you now.
Oh, okay, well, report me to the police.
We
I
have
am
no
the
British
police.
people here.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. History racist all I want. So we're just gonna see if we can add it then. So I'll do car movements, and it's not showing up. So there's actually something we have to do to make the component show up in this add component list. Unfortunately for components, I'm not quite sure why they did this. So the thing we have to add, will this whole restarting Unreal every time you make a change in code still be a thing in UE5? Yes, it will. Most likely. So we actually have to specify this as a blueprint spawnable component. That might be a meta tag. I'm not quite sure. Let's try it. Yes, we have to wrap this in meta. So we actually have to do this. Meta equals. Yeah. So you have to do meta equals and then another set of brackets. In those brackets we type blueprint spawnable components. And low-key unacceptable that Epic Games haven't fixed a better way to do this. Well, I mean, in the end, it's C++. Like, it is what it is.
Is meta with big M or small m?
It doesn't matter, I don't think. You can just type meta in any way you want.
Cool. Cool.
In the end, you kind of been spoiled by C# in Unity. That they're using a separate scripting layer on top of their actual engine code. While in Unreal, everything is just C++. So you take the trade-offs. Alright, so let's see now if we can spawn this then. So I'm gonna head into the blueprint editor. I'm just gonna click the car, edit blueprint, open blueprint editor. And let's see if we can find it this time. Race car. Yeah, there it is. So now we can actually spawn the component from blueprint. So this is something very important to know. We're not actually gonna add it through blueprint. We're gonna add this to C++. But I just wanted to show you that if you want to be able to have your component be added through blueprints or through the editor, you have to add this meta tag here. This blueprint spawnable component. Not sure why. Not sure why they made it not spawnable by default, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Well, I'm glad I can fix that for you. Good old Tove. But of course, we want to add this through C++, so we can actually interface with it through our pawn. So I am going to go into our race car. I'm gonna go into the race car, and then I'm gonna add this as a component here. So I'm just gonna add a property for it. U race car movement component move comp. Might be a keyword. Hopefully not a keyword. It's already used. And of course, to declare it here, we have to forward declare it. There we go. So I'm just forward declaring our race car movement component there. Ah, my foot has fallen asleep. Ah! My foot. Okay. That's unreal. Alright, so then we're gonna create it then. So I'm just gonna do move comp equal to create default sub-objects. So just the same as any other components. Actually, I know my lead, he tried for a while to... so in Vim you have like command mode and insert mode, and he would actually have like toggle between those modes with a foot pedal. He tried that out for a while, so he actually was kind of coding with his foot, which is quite weird. Apparently he didn't like it though. Alright, so we don't have to do setup attachment here. So we don't have to call setup attachment since it is an actor component, it's not a scene component, so it can't be attached to anything. So we don't have to worry about that. We just have to create it, and then that's it. That's all we need to do. That's all we must do. Whoops, I didn't include it. My bad. Race car movement components. There we go. Fuck, my foot is so itchy. Ah! Yeah, you're getting foot scratch cam. Oh! That feels good. So now hopefully we should see, if we select our car here, that we have a move comp here.
Wait, what did we include?
I just included the movement component that we made. We together as a team. Speech to text code. Oh yeah, you know what? I saw that yesterday on YouTube. Someone said like, yeah, you want to speed up your fucking coding? Then just do speech to text. Let's try it. It was Win H. Hello. To use dictate. Turn it on. Fucking hell. I'm doing this for a joke. Just for a gag. Okay.
You already fucked up the momentum.
What the hell? Oh, H.
Where you're muted.
Yeah, I noticed that. Can Visual Studio also hear us? That would
Move
be
comp
fucking
equals create default sub object. Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, bye bye. Well, that worked great. Yeah, that really this is gonna speed up my productivity quite a lot. Yeah, okay, so we have our movement component, so that's great. There's something I didn't talk about that I kind of want to talk about. I can't find a good segue to actually talk about it, so I'm just gonna show it now. I should have showed it earlier, that's my bad, but I will show it now. One thing that constructors in C++ are used for, there's special tools for speech recognition. I just used it. There are one thing that constructors are used for, and you've heard Sorry, what was your mentor's name? Sahil? Is it Sahil? Okay.
Yeah.
There's something that Sahil was talking about, and that is that constructors are used for setting default parameters. And so you totally could, in the constructor, for example, in our race camera, we could do stuff like set the default camera offset. So we could do like camera set relative location and so on. Stuff like that. And we can set the camera field of view, like we can do... Like we can do all kinds of stuff in here. That's just setting the default stuff. Like setting the default parameters. And that's great. I just didn't do it because I usually just end up doing all of this in Blueprint anyway. Like that's kind of usually how I work. But I will say that this is definitely one way that's, if some things are like this, it's supposed to be this way. Like camera must be offset by this amount. Then it's totally fine to do that in the in C++. Though of course the big downside of this is that it becomes a little bit annoying when designers and artists want to change this, because then the default will kind of be set in two places and it becomes a little bit weird where the actual defaults are. But that's kind of what the constructor is for. So one excellent use would be, for example, to set the box collision radius here. So we'll do like, okay, I want the box collision to be like set box extents. There. So be like, okay, I'm gonna hard code what the extents are. Maybe that's useful for like calculations and so on. Then we can totally do that here. Fuck. Like that. So now I've set a set that what the default box extents for the box collision should be. So now if we go to Unreal Engine, bum 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 bum. And I head into the car. Then if I reset these box extents, because remember we were setting these through Blueprint, we were kind of setting them to, you know, we were just kind of eyeballing what they should be. Then if I hit this reset button, they will actually reset to what it was I set it in C++. So C++ will become like the default. If you don't override it in Blueprint, what should the box extents be? So all of these values you can set through C++, and they will become sort of the default value. So if you change them and then want to revert, they will revert back to the C++ defaults. I'm sorry I didn't mention this. Now it became a little bit hand-fisted, so I'm sorry. But yeah, I just thought I should mention that. Because it's important. So yeah, constructors are only for setting default values, nothing else. And maybe binding to events. I'm still fighting Sahil on that one. I think you should bind events in constructor, but yeah, whatever. But let's not do that. Okay, I'm just gonna revert. Let's save. Okay. So now that we got that going, so we have a move component. Let's make it fucking move. So let's do in the movement component. I'm gonna do a tick. Unfortunately, it's not actually called tick. Like if I try to compile this. Yeah. We actually get a super weird error. It says like acting component tick function declared as final cannot be overridden. the thing is that for some reason they renamed the tick function. I'm not quite sure why. So if we go to the actor component here and search for tick, that's a lot. Here is the actual tick function that we want to use. It's called tick component. And it has a couple of more parameters for some reason. Not sure why they did this. In blueprints, it's just tick, just like everything else. But for some reason in C++, when we want to tick a component, we have to use this function instead. I don't know. I'm just going to copy that. Let's copy that into the boom component. There we go. Mark it as override. And there we go. So now we have this huge monstrosity instead. Isn't that nice? Isn't that just neat? Man, Ruta looks so pissed in your camera, Thomas. I don't want to sit next to her. That seems so horrible. She seems like the person who would like get mad at you for like breathing weird. It's like, why are you breathing like that? Shut up.
Emily, you want to talk about your breathing?
What do you mean? Did you like my breathing?
It's annoying.
Okay, thanks, Ruta.
That's what you get for shit comments.
Oh god. Okay, so I'm gonna implement that. I'm gonna hide this. I'm sorry. I'll paste this in. You know what? I'll just paste this in Discord in case you want to read it. Fuck.
But it's visible in the definition too, right?
That's not what I wanted to copy. Whoops. There you go. Sorry, what did you say?
The parameters are visible in the CPP as well, so
yeah, but
fine.
not yeah, I guess you can kind of read it, but not after I type this. So it's gonna be AU race car movement component. Of course, we have to include race car movement component here. Ruta seems quite chill to everyone except Emil. Yeah, we have beef, so that's why we're beefing. Okay. So the way the tick component works is that, or to get the actual actor out of the component. So remember, the component can be on any actor, right? It's not like it's tied to any one specific actor. So the way to get the actor that this component actually attached to, we do get owner. So get owner will give us the actor that we're attached to right now. Or, you know, I'm saying attached, but of course for actor components there's no attachment. Then it's just kind of the actor the component is sitting on. So that's the way to get the actor. And of course we want to move the actor, because it's a fucking moving component, come on. So we want to move the actor. So I'm just gonna get this and save it. So I'm just do owner equals get owner. And then I'll just do owner, add actor, world offset. Let's do vector, forward vector times 500. Sure. Is the actor's attachment ever an issue? What do you mean? What do you mean the actor's attachments? Elaborate. Like what if the actor is too attached to an object? What do you mean too attached to an object? Is that a joke, or do you mean like too attached, like I'm too attached to my girlfriend? Oh, it is a joke. Okay, thank you. Yeah, guys, how do I deal with my relationship problems? So let's play. Well, nothing's happening. Great, fantastic. So it doesn't seem to work. So what the fuck? Okay, so yeah, the same problem. Yeah, asking game devs for relationship advice is the worst. It's like, as long as she lets you play video games and doesn't ask too many questions, then it's fine. Yeah, so it doesn't move. And the reason is the same as with the actor. It's the same problem there, where by default, components tick functions aren't enabled. So it won't be added to the tick list for performance reasons. So we have to turn on the ticking of the components. And we're going to do that in the constructor. So let's make a constructor. So let's make one. Like that. And in here, I'm gonna call primary component tick b can ever tick is true. There we go. So now we can ever tick. I had a joke, like I wanted to say something. I had some funny joke, but I can't.
It was probably bad.
Sorry, what are you gonna say, Thomas? Ruta, it very rudely interrupted you. What did you say?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you don't have to ask if you can ask a question. You just ask it. Your lifetime permission to ask questions. Go ahead.
Does the V in the can ever tick stand for bool?
Yes.
Okay.
So bools are always prefixed with a tiny b. And I don't know why. Okay, so now we turned on tick for the components. Okay, it's gone. Okay, I think I saw like a frame of it moving. Yeah, there was definitely one frame of it moving. Let's see where it's going. Okay, so it's going very rapidly away. Bye-bye. There it is. I can't even catch it with F. I already saw it in the chat, but can someone explain to me why it's doing this? Why it's moving so fast?
Mine's going real slow. Because it's moving 500 units every frame.
Oh, you put it so succinctly. Exactly. Within a delta time, our movement. So
yeah, you have to multiply by delta time.
Exactly. So instead of moving 500 units per second, we're moving 500 units per frame, which is quite fast. So let's do a good times delta time. Divided by delta time. Whenever I see a divided by delta time, I freak out a little bit, just a little bit. Yay! Look at me go! And to double check that it actually works, we can actually force the frame rate to be slow. Oh fuck, my console doesn't work. No, not project settings. Crappa. Editor preferences. Console. show console here. I'm just gonna bind tilde to be open show console, just so we can add a little testing command here. I'm gonna add. Doesn't work. Crap. Okay, let's just go to the upper log. Oh fuck. Upper log. I'm just gonna add t.f max FPS is equal to 30. There we go. So now we have set a maximum FPS for our editor. So now it's laggy as fuck. But if I play, he still moves at the same rate. So that's good. It's a very common test that we did. Very common test that we did at Hazelight, just to make sure that our systems are frame rate independent. We would just like set T-max FPS to like 30, just to see like does it still play the same way. So let's just turn it back on. So I'm just gonna do T-max FPS 0, just to turn back no limit. It's also what we do for if you're ever applying to Hazelight. This is what we do for work tests as well. Is that we always go in and change the FPS to something small, like 20 or 30, and see if your game breaks. So be on the lookout for that, because frame rate dependency is a huge issue. Cool.
How did you change the frame rate of the editor?
Went to the output log here. And then here in the enter console command, I wrote t.max FPS 30, space 30. And I will just set the maximum FPS of the editor. And it's the whole editor as well, which is kind of annoying, but so now the whole editor works in 30 FPS. But yeah.
The default FPS is 60, right?
The default FPS is just nothing, I think. It's just like infinite. So if you, yeah, so if you set T max FPS to 0, then it's just no limit. It can be any frame rate.
Didn't the camera follow the car for half an hour ago?
Nope. Or half an hour maybe before we made our own custom camera. Perhaps. But now it doesn't. And that's a great idea. Let's make the camera follow the player. I like that. Very good idea there. Greg? Can I call you Greg?
Thank you, my good sir. You may.
Oh, Gregory. Oh, you dog. So let's make the camera follow the player then. Because I don't know, why not? It's fun. Then it makes it a little bit easier to test as well. It's Leviosa. Oh, stop it, Ron. Ron Slura. So let's make the camera able to follow the player. So the way I will do this. You don't like this, Ruda?
Yeah, Ruta maybe likes Leviosa better.
Leviosa. I'm gonna make a U property. I'm gonna make it edit instance only. And I'm gonna make it an actor. I'm just gonna call it follow actor. Alright. So I'm gonna put an actor as a U property, edit instance only, and this is the actor that this camera is gonna follow. Quite a simple, easy, stupid, not very good fix, but let's begin there, and then as it goes more complex, like maybe later when we have like multiple players, maybe we want the camera to be like in the middle of them, so we kind of see all the players going around. But let's just begin here, not overcomplicate things. Now I see the tunnel snakes behind you doing their usual thing. The tunnel snakes meeting.
Yeah, look at that. It's that time of the day.
Yeah, they're discussing who to bully next.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have an actor pointer here that we're gonna set from the editor later. And then I'm just gonna override tick on the play. We're in the camera right now, by the way. Just gonna override tick. Did you see the new kid? Look what the cat dragged in. Some is overriding tick in the race camera. And I'm just gonna lerp my position towards the follow actor. It's gonna super simple implementation. So I'll just do location is equal to get actor location. That's just where I am. Then I'm gonna do location is equal to fmath lerp. So we have quite a few lerps here. We want the they have a T version. I'm guessing maybe that's the one we're gonna be using. Yeah, it looks like it. So we're just gonna be lerping location to follow actor, get actor location. And then the alpha is just gonna be some follow strength. I'm actually gonna make that a U property as well. We'll make that anywhere. Why not? So then I'm gonna lerp with follow speed times delta time. And I'm just gonna set that location. So we're just continuously lerping from our current position to the follow actor's actor location. And the lerp strength is going to be this follow speed variable, or this property, that we can change from the editor, and then that times delta time. So that's going to be how aggressively we're following the target location. Very common design to do this. It's a standard lerp. I think people call it interpolation, usually, like when you do this iterative lerping. But I don't know, I used to call it a lerp. Ronslura. So let's see if it works.
But you have to enable the tick.
Oh, you spoiler, you.
Alright. Not sorry.
You're right. No, it's all good.
I'm sorry in Minecraft.
No, you don't have to be sorry. You're sorry in Minecraft. Perfect. So now if I scroll down, we should have, here, race camera. We have a follow speed variable that we can drag around, and we have a follow actor. So these are the two properties that I added. This follow actor, we can either click here and select an actor, since we made it an actor pointer, right? So it's a reference to another actor in the level. So we can either select it from here, or we can click this little eyedrop here, and you select the car. Or yeah, we could select any actor really, but I'm gonna select the car. So let's play. It doesn't work. What? Yeah, it doesn't work. So what's wrong? Anyone but Niklas. What is wrong?
Wait, I have a question before.
Yeah, shoot.
Is the setting the location, set actor location, for example, is it already considering collision?
No. It does not consider collision. Unless we do a sweep, but we're not. Alright, so what am I forgetting here?
I need to enable tick.
Where?
In the constructor.
What do I type?
Primary actor tick, B can never tick, true.
Damn, you're so fucking smart, dude. Can ever tick is true, exactly. So now it should work, right? I can't think of anything else that's wrong. I said I can't think of anything else. Yeah, there's one more thing that we're forgetting, but let's just to be sure, let's try it. And no, it doesn't work. So there was another problem here. The super tick thing is close. You close. There was another pitfall that I explained before. Another super function that's super important to call. Which one is it? I mean, there's
super
two.
begin play.
Yeah, it's super begin play.
Yeah, super, right?
Yeah, that's super good. So yeah. So if your tick isn't working for some reason, make sure first to check that your primary actor tick is enabled, and that you're calling super begin play. This is dumb. I hate this. I don't ever want to call super functions. So to have this critical behavior in the super begin play, I think it's super dumb. But whoa, woo! So now we're actually following a player. How neat is that? How neat is that, guys? From scale to 1 to 10, how neat is it?
Like a solid
Very
9.
good.
A solid 9. Thank you, David.
I didn't find
I
where
agree.
to, I didn't find where to pick the camera target.
So on the camera,
What component was that?
yeah, I had to scroll down quite a bit to reach it. It's here on the raise camera here. You can probably use the search for follow as well, if that was what you named your property.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Is there a way to make the new components get added to the top? Like ordering or something?
Not that I know. I think they're alphabetically ordered, except for transform. But let's see how we can. Well, except of course, transform, the most important one ever. Wait, can we see the code? Yes, we can see the code again. Because I actually want to show you how you could make a category. So you saw sorry, I'm just gonna show real quick. You saw how in the camera we had this sort of raise camera category name. But what if we want to have something cool? We want to have a cool category only for these. And the way that you do that is that you type something. Hold on, I have to look up if it's a meta tag or not. I don't remember if it's a meta tag or not. It isn't. Okay, cool. So the way you do that is by typing category equals and then camera follow. Yeah, some cool category that you like. I'm gonna set the same category for follow speed. You can also do subcategories. So you can do camera follow sub, and then let's use the pipe. And let's call it advanced. So you can do these subcategories for properties. Man, you guys are yawning so much. It's kind of disrespectful, actually. You think I'm boring? Am I boring you? Am I boring? Am I not funny?
Less talking, more teaching.
Am I not funny? So now we should see in the details view, we should see some nice categories. So if we go to the camera, hit the little cloud. Emil, I want you to know I laugh my ass off whenever you do a funny joke. The voice. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. I would appreciate if you laughed on mic, but it's fine. I know in my heart now that at least Daniel thinks I'm funny. He's cool. He knows. Like, Daniel knows what's funny. So now we should find, yes, so here we have the camera follow category. And then we also have the advanced subcategory within there for the follow speed. Very cool. Very cool. Oh, that's so cool. So badass. Oh, shit. And yeah, now, so let's try to tweak the speed. So let's say, it's following a little bit of aggressively. So let's put a 1 in the follow speed. So now it will be following the player a little bit less aggressively. So isn't that neat? Isn't that just dandy? Cool. I'm gonna leave it at that for today. And tomorrow we're just gonna start working on the movement, make some collision checking. My car isn't moving. Did you need some super call in the movement component? I'll show the movement component so you can check it out. Yeah, so tomorrow we're gonna do some movements with actual inputs and not just hard-coded moving forwards. Gonna do some collision checks. It's gonna be just a rad time with my good friends, you guys. So it's gonna be sick. And for all you YouTube dorks out there, make sure to hit subscribe if you want to have some more content coming your way. I'm teaming up with...
No, stop it!
I'm teaming up with Huel, so they're gonna have a sponsorship for me coming soon. And yeah, buy my shirts. So, yeah, any last questions before we end it for today, so I can go to bed and sleep?
Where do I find the OneDrive where you had like uploaded your code before?
Oh, I can send a link. I can send the link again after this.
Yeah, nice.
After this lesson, I can also upload this project so you can go from there. I mean, we didn't really do anything in the old project that was more advanced than what we're doing now, so we should be able to use this. Check this one.
I just need to see all the parameters for a tick component, but I can't really see more than
I pasted those into the Discord.
Okay, cool.
All right. Any other questions? Anyone who wants some special treatment help?
I have a small question, if that's okay.
You don't have to ask Thomas. Just say it. Shoot.
The lecture's over, and people want to.
I specifically said, does anyone have any questions?
Ask before asking that if you can ask the question. Just ask.
Okay, Thomas, what's on your heart, friend?
The special tick we made in the actor component had a bunch of more parameters than than just delta time. Will we go over those eventually, or are those sort of non-important?
I have actually no clue what those are for. What is level tick? Let's see. What is this? Time only, viewports only, all pause tick. No idea. I've never used these in my life. So.
Okay, so it's like do your own research if you want to know what they do. Otherwise, just.
I mean, there's probably some really good use for them, but I've never found it. So, I mean, they're not available in Blueprint. So, yeah, I used delta time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. All right, guys. You guys have a POG afternoon, and I'll see you tomorrow, 10 o'clock. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
See you. Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Bye.